Things are gonna get crazy!
Most everyone's mad here.
Hello, my wonderful people. How are you all doing? And welcome back to another fun-filled episode of AniMat's Crazy Cartoon Cast. Hey, by the way, how are you all doing? How has your week been? How is it all going? I hope you all had a wonderful time. I know I had. It's been pretty relaxing lately, but still, just doing the best I can and just having a lot of fun. And I wish you all for the same, or that, you know, things are going fine on your end. So just want to double check actually quickly just to see if everyone's going okay. Yeah, all right. Okay, so far it looks like people are happy, people are great, people are doing well. And yes, actually, finally, we're able to go and start things right. So far, the stream is going smoothly. You can immediately go and hear me. I took all the precautions to make sure that we could go and start things off correctly. Yes, Meta Ralph, thank you for the subscription, and I'm glad that you agree with me right there. But yes, so now we can officially go and begin this correctly. That's what I love to see. Now, for this episode, let me tell you, this is going to be really fascinating for animation fans. And also, it's very interesting how we will also have a theme of Disney sci-fi. We're going to have a bunch of news that will be related to that as well. So it will partly be animation and also partly be sci-fi. But either way, with the combination of those two in this episode, we are guaranteed to go and have a good time. All right, so with all that said and done, I would like to go into the chat wall. And I want to ask you all, are you all ready for today's episode of AniMat's Crazy Cartoon Cast? Let me hear it, folks. Yeah! Oh, wow, one's ready to die. Well, I mean, yeah, like, it's gonna be crazy over here. And by the way, thank you, KS, for the subscription right there. I mean, like, yeah, it's gonna get wild, but you don't have to be ready to die, because don't worry, like, you will live after going through this episode. It won't be that crazy, but still crazy nonetheless. All right, so I am glad to see that everyone is prepared and everyone is ready. So with all that said and done, it is now time that we shall go and get things started. And with our first story that we have today, I decided I'm going to go and get this out of the way because, in a sense, this is breaking news. This is actually something that has been reported just today, revealing a major milestone that has occurred. And I mean, I know that this is something that they would go and talk about again and again and again, giving us updates. But in this regards, I have yet to go and fully discuss about it. And I have talked about it before this movie was released. But now it looks like, well, whatever mission it tried to do, it has certainly accomplished it. And what I'm talking about, of course, is in regards to Avatar: The Way of Water. Yes, it is official. After Chinese New Year, they have officially passed the major milestone of having $2 billion at the global box office. To be more specific, actually, allow me to go and read you here this passage coming from my source here on Deadline, in which it states here, the mega achievement was presaged ahead of the weekend with the global gross on the 20th Century Studios / Disney sequel now at $2.024 billion through Sunday. That includes $1.426 billion from overseas turnstiles. This means that Offshore: Way of Water has become the number 4 of all time, jumping past Avengers: Infinity War, behind only Avatar, Avengers: Endgame, and Titanic. This gives Cameron bragging rights that 3 of the top 4 movies ever at the international box office. And by the way, keep in mind, like, this number 4 thing is only for international box office. This doesn't include domestically, or this doesn't include like worldwide. If we are talking about worldwide, by the way, then at that point, it is at number 6 right now, where it states, on a worldwide basis, Way of Water remains the number 6 film ever, with the Navi's next step on leapfrogging Infinity War and Star Wars The Force Awakens. When that happens later this week, the epic sci-fi adventure will become the number 4 movie of all time globally, and it will give Cameron 3 of the top 4, which will include, as stated before, the first Avatar film and Titanic. But at the same time, there is also some records that it did manage to break. And right now, The Way of Water even now officially became the second highest grossing movie ever in IMAX, where it says that globally, Avatar: The Way of Water has grossed $227 million from IMAX, overtaking Star Wars The Force Awakens to become the second highest grossing movie in the format's history. But also, it is worth mentioning that there's another record that it broke, not necessarily for the movie and not necessarily for James Cameron, but specifically for Zoe Saldana. Because now that The Way of Water has made over $2 billion, Zoe Saldana has now become, at least so far, the first, well, actually, she has become the first and so far only actress in history to appear in not 1, not 2, but 4 movies that has made over $2 billion, which includes the first 2 Avatar movies, or like right now is the two Avatar movies with the first and The Way of Water, and the conclusion of the Infinity War saga, meaning Avengers Infinity War and Avengers Endgame. So she has managed to break that record right there. And so, yeah, that's pretty much the big thing. We are now seeing Avatar: The Way of Water crossing over $2 billion worldwide, and I'm sure that sometime in the near future, it will go and make it up to being the number 4 highest grossing movie of all time. Now, the big reason to why I decided to go and talk about this, and a little bit at the last minute, considering that this did break today, but the reason why I decided to go and bring this up here is because in the past, I have discussed a few times in regards to how the box office success would be for Avatar: The Way of Water. And I've been doing my predictions, and like you've probably heard me say a few times that I believe that it would definitely cross $1 billion with no problem whatsoever, but I still felt pretty hesitant if it would go as far as to make $2 billion. Because there was one time before the movie came out that James Cameron actually stated that in order for the film to become profitable, then Avatar: The Way of Water needs to make at least $2 billion globally at the box office, which even I felt very hesitant to say that, yeah, that's going to happen. Like, honestly, beforehand, it was pretty hard to imagine that Avatar would recreate that major success that the first movie did. Well, I guess now it's safe to say that I have been proven wrong, and now we have finally reached the point where it did it. It finally made over $2 billion at the box office. And on a side note, the movies that were released around the same time as Avatar, it's still doing well. Like Megan, which is the new horror flick, is doing pretty decently well, and they've already announced that they're going to go and work on a sequel. And they've even mentioned that for Puss in Boots: The Last Wish, it's actually getting closer to making $300 million globally at the box office, which for an animated film that was released at the same time as a massive blockbuster as The Way of Water, that's actually extremely impressive. Like, I think it's safe to say that The Last Wish really did well for itself. Now, there is one thing that I do need to confess, honestly, and as much as there have been so many people out there who went to go see Avatar: The Way of Water, I have yet to be one of them. And there is a reason. Like, Originally, I was thinking that maybe me and my parents or with my whole family, we were going to go and actually watch The Way of Water around the holiday season. But then something happened, which is I was sick. Or actually, we all got sick, sadly. We all got a bad cold, which kind of damped the mood during the holidays, like during Christmas and during New Year's. Like, you know, like the stress of it all kind of got to us. And then suddenly, whoop, there comes a sickness. I mean, hey, at least it wasn't COVID, but still, it was not really a fun experience to go through. I mean, like outside of that, the holidays were great. It was just going through that sickness just wasn't fun. And like immediately afterwards, we only focus on just getting ourselves better, to just improving ourselves, to make sure that we become fully healthy before we get back into our regular lives. So we had to make a bunch of sacrifices, including not watching Avatar: The Way of Water just yet. But I'm not going to say that I won't be watching it. I'm sure eventually I will, but for now, though, I can't say that I have seen it just yet. So I can't really put my opinion onto the movie itself. However, what I can say is that I do have an idea as to why we have reached this point in terms of its box office success. How is it The Way of Water was able to go and do what very few movies were capable of doing and actually cross the $2 billion mark in the global box office? And for me, I feel like it is two reasons as to why specifically. And number one, of course, it's the fact that it is Avatar, and it's kind of repeating the same thing of what made the first movie a massive success. And that is the fact that the best way to go and watch it is to go experience that on the big screen. Like, this is literally the kind of movie that is built to be watched in a cinema, to go to your local movie theater, pay a ticket, put on some 3D glasses, and to experience it like that. Because I can guarantee you that once this thing makes it at home, like once you go and actually are able to go and see The Way of Water either on Disney Plus or watch it on your television, on your tablets, on your phone, on your computer, you're not going to get that same kind of experience like you would if you would watch it on the big screen. Like, that is a completely different level. To go and watch it in the cinema, like on a gigantic screen, especially if it's something like IMAX, to put on those like 3D glasses so that you can actually immerse into the major experience. Like, James Cameron and like the entire production team of Avatar, they made sure that how they crafted their world really is the kind that you need to go and experience that the biggest and the clearest way that you ever can. So with that mindset, if you want to get the best experience, then now is the time. Now is the time that you would go onto the big screen, watch it in an IMAX or whatever, buy those 3D glasses, and to actually go see it, because you know that the experience that you will get on the big screen, it's not something that you can wait. So basically, like, a part of the success is because you're not really buying a ticket to see a movie, you're buying to see an experience. And that is a big selling point that managed to work out very well for Avatar. It's the experience of watching it on the big screen in 3D, like really go full on luxury in terms of how you would go and watch it in order to truly immerse yourself. So that's reason number one. But then there is also a second reason. And this is honestly something that I've heard so much, not just from critics online, but also when I would go and talk about it with my friends and family who have actually seen it. And they've all told me the same thing. The 3-hour time frame that Avatar: The Way of Water has is worth it. And that's honestly one of the most common praises that I have heard in terms of The Way of Water, is the fact that the 3-hour time doesn't really feel that long, that they were able to go and successfully make it feel like it is legitimately worth it, that there is a reason that the movie is over 3 hours long. Because if you would go and make a movie that I would say is like 2.5 hours or longer, then that is going to be a massive make or break deal for people. Like if your movie feels like it has an intimidating time frame, that it goes on for like around that 3-hour mark, then people will be hesitant and they will question if they are ready to go and spend that much time in the movie theater to actually go and experience a movie. And even before The Way of Water came out, that was one thing that a lot of people were like really judging if they really want to see it. Like, is it actually worth it to go and watch over 3 hours of Avatar, especially when it's like much longer than the first film itself? So that really was a make or break deal. But amazingly, regardless of what people say how it is, like some would say that it's amazing, some say that it's just good, some say that it was just decent, and some would say it's meh. But a lot of those people do agree that the time frame is not an issue. In fact, it's actually an asset that works out in the movie's favor, so that when you actually do go and watch it, like regardless if you have to go and take a bathroom break during or whatever, then it will actually work out. Like not only will you get that amazing experience, but getting that experience for 3 hours and that it feels seamless, that is an amazing achievement for a movie to do. The fact that you can make 3 hours feel worth it, that is actually a really good sign of a movie that would be worth watching, a good movie that would be worth watching. And for many of those people who had those doubts, like that's pretty much cleared. And because of that word of mouth, it actually encouraged more and more people to go and see Avatar: The Way of Water. And it's through that, with the combination of the fact that they got that exclusive experience and the time frame is actually justified, it all results into what we see here. The fact that now The Way of Water is breaking records, and now it has passed $2 billion. Now, at this point, like the only question remains from here is, how long is this going to go? Like, how long are we going to see The Way of Water keep on breaking records and continue to accumulate money at the box office? How long is it going to be? Because as I'm recording this, it has been over a month that The Way of Water has been released. And so far, it is doing extremely well. And I mean, it's already a very positive sign that after over a month that it would already cross $2 billion. But the question is, are we going to see it really rise up to the top? Are we going to see it beat out like some of the other movies that like are above The Way of Water? Are we going to see it like probably pass Titanic? Are we going to see it pass Endgame? Or especially, will it pass the first Avatar? Or like, maybe this is like too insane of a question, like even asking that for now. Will this be the first ever movie in history to surpass $3 billion at the box office? And I mean, there probably was a once upon a time where it seems highly doubtful. And even nowadays, it's like, it's a little iffy. It's like, people are probably unsure of that, but it's not out of the realm of possibility. That could be a thing that can legitimately happen, especially with The Way of Water. If they would go and do like with the first Avatar, if they're going to keep it for months on end, like if we're going to see this like still be in theaters for like February, March, April, May, and June, like if they're going to keep it for an extensively long time, then I feel like honestly there could be that possibility. It will like it's still going to take a long time, but maybe history is going to be made with The Way of Water. And like, keep in mind, not everyone has seen it just yet. Even I haven't seen it, but I feel like maybe there is a possibility. And for me, like from what I've heard, I will admit that while going to see The Way of Water is not a high priority for me, I am somewhat encouraged to go see what it is. Like, at least I have the confidence to know that it's not going to be a bad experience, you know, it's not going to be a time waster, and at least like I'll definitely get a lot of benefits, including seeing like the beautiful visuals that people kept on praising and stuff like that. So yeah, I mean, it's pretty crazy right now, but What can I say? Congratulations to the Avatar team for their major success with The Way of Water, and to actually prove many people, including myself, wrong that it did manage to cross $2 billion worldwide. So we'll see how it goes from there. And so with that said, I would like to go into the chat wall, and I want to ask you all, how do you feel about The Way of Water crossing $2 billion at the box office? And also I want to ask, especially if you have seen The Way of Water, I would love to know your thoughts. So let's hear it, folks. All right. This was honestly shocking. Personally, I haven't seen The Way of Water yet, mostly because Avatar really never interested me. But I won't deny it definitely deserved that box office milestone, mostly because of its lack of competition in theaters, and I think it still has a few more weeks to keep collecting money until the next big movie comes out with Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania on February 17th. And also because of the success, I think it's safe to say that the other 3 sequels are a go. Yeah, I think that is true, and you do bring up a very good point that it doesn't really have that much competition, at least in terms of like mainstream movies. Like, technically, some could say that there are competitors, but they are nowhere in the leagues of The Way of Water as like this major blockbuster. Like, yeah, technically you could say that there is some competition with Megan or Puss in Boots: The Last Wish, but they're in an entirely separate category compared to The Way of Water. Like, the only true competitor it would have is if someone would go and release like a sequel to a nostalgic property, kind of, you know, like another Top Gun Maverick, or if they would go and do another superhero movie, rather it be from DC or Marvel. Well, maybe not Marvel, because then again, that would just be Disney versus Disney. You know, that would just be kind of a weird scheduling thing going on. All right. Anyways, as someone who doesn't care about Avatar and will be watching the sequel, the only thing I can say is great job for James Cameron. Me and my friends were also expecting for Avatar 2 to bomb and not get $2 billion. However, the meme died today when it happened, and we are all impressed of James Cameron. I do congratulate Cameron for his success. Now, when are we getting Ice Age Into the Scrapverse from James Cameron? Also, we get Puss in Boots 2 next week, finally. Oh, well then. Yeah, well, I mean, you know, it's kind of funny to see, like, how there are so many people trying to say, like, oh, it's gonna bomb, it's gonna be a bomb, especially from the anti-woke people. Like, you get all those channels like Geeks Plus Gamers or Clownfish TV or The Quartering or whatever, trying to heavily push their political agenda by trying to frame, like, Avatar 2 is gonna be a big bomb because Disney is so woke, it's gonna be a disaster. But then immediately, I think honestly, they've already been proven wrong like weeks ago. Like, after it already crossed the $1 billion mark so quickly, even they were desperately trying to change their narrative because they know that, like, just like the grand majority of all anti-woke videos, it aged like godforsaken milk, and it just makes all those people look like they're just hacks who have no idea what they're talking about. And they still are, so I mean, that's why you should never go and watch those idiots. Anyways, let's see what we got here. Well, who didn't see that coming? I mean, not me. I was just expecting it to make just 1 billion. While at this rate, I'm the one other person who hasn't seen it yet, but still, it's pretty cool that it managed to break the record. Hell, I'm even impressed at the record set by Zoe Saldana. I might end up seeing the movie eventually in order to give James Cameron a pat in the back, as soon as he's down to trying to stop Randy Newman from lowering the bar, of course. Yes. All right. I have seen it 3 times for the purpose of making a post and catch with my friends who wanted to see it, and feels exactly what I expected, which is just the same. I prefer Puss in Boots 2, as I was blown away more than Avatar 2, but I get it. Also, 2 reasons for its $2 billion success: because no big movie competition out until Ant-Man 3 comes out, and China, so there is that. All I could say is congrats to, and nothing else to show I was wrong in making $2 billion, so congrats. Yeah, I mean, like, you guys do bring up a good point that the lack of competition is a significant factor, and yeah, like, I think it's safe to say that Avatar is one of those properties that China absolutely adores. In fact, I'm honestly surprised that Disney has yet to really take advantage of it, and make a Pandora either in Shanghai or Hong Kong. Like, I know for a fact that would be something that would sell like that would make them billions of dollars again if they would go and do that, especially for Shanghai. But then again, I understand, like, in the current economic status, not just for Disney, but for like the whole world, like, things are pretty complicated, especially when people are preparing for a recession. So like, maybe that won't happen until like several years, but that needs to be a thing that should happen. Disney needs to go and build a Pandora for Shanghai or for Hong Kong, because it's clear that they love it so much. So why not give, Disney, go give them what they want. All right, I'm going to read one more comment before we go take a break and then move to our next story. Let's see. Oh, wow. I already see someone already asking that same question. Avatar Land in Shanghai Disney when? Yes. Let's see. Okay, I'll go here. I guess the moral here is that never doubt James Cameron when it comes to directing movies that make a lot of money. If there is another reason for this movie's success, it would be how little competition there is at the moment, and besides Megan and Puss in Boots, there aren't actually any notable movies that will be released in January right now, which allows the movie to just sweep the competition. Also, people can just easily be drawn by very pretty visuals. Yeah, that is definitely true. All right, but keep in mind, though, that this story right here is just the appetizer. When we come back, we are going to go and discuss about the main course of this episode. And we are back. Now, to introduce this story, I just want to go and do something a little bit special. Don't worry, this is not the grand finale, but I think for our next story, it's worth it to go and do this. And now, for our next story, it is now time we take a look at the 50th Annie Awards. Yes, animation's biggest night is about to go and commence very, very soon. But very recently, we actually received the official nominees for the 50th Annie Awards. And it looks like it is promising us that it's going to be a bit of a competitive year. Now, I'm not going to go and list down all the categories, but I will be highlighting the main categories right over here. So I am right over here on the official Annie Awards website. So let me just go scroll down a bit. So allow me to go and list you all the nominees, at least for the big ones, at this year's Annie Awards. So first off, we got Best Student Film. And the nominees are Au revoir, Jérôme, Birdsong, Synchronie Passagère, The Most Boring Granny in the World, and finally, The Soloist. Then let's just skip over here where we got Best Sponsored. And the nominees for those are Can't Negotiate the Melting Point of Ice, Minions, The Rise of Gru, The Office video. You probably do recall that little video where the Minions recreate the Office opening. Yeah, that's what got nominated. Save Ralph, Ted Lasso, The Missing Christmas Mustache, and Today's Holiday Moments Are Tomorrow's Memories. Next up, we got the TV and media category. So, first off, for Best TV and Media for Preschool, the nominees are Eleanor Wonders Why for the episode Rest is Best, Gabby's Dollhouse for the episode Cake's Cupcake Cousin, Rise Up, Sing Out for the episode Name Tag, Spirit Rangers for the episode Thunder Mountain, and finally, The Tiny Chef Show for the episode Pancake. Now for the, for the limited series category for TV and media, the nominees for those are Baymax for the episode Sophia. And just a quick side note, this is the episode in which it discusses about periods. So yes, that's the episode in which it got nominated. Nominated for several categories, by the way. Anyways, El Defo for the episode Everybody Sounds Weird. Housebroken for the episode Who's Having a Merry Trashmas? Oni, Thunder God's Tale for the episode The Demon Moon Rises. And finally, Undone for the episode Rectify. And now moving on up for Best TV and Media for Children. And the nominees for those are Abominable and the Invisible City for the episode Everest Returns. Big Nate for the episode The Legend of the Gun Ting. Moomin Valley for the episode Lonely Mountain. The Owl House for the episode King's Tide. And finally, We Baby Bears for the episode The Real Canyon. And then we got Best TV and Media for a Mature Audience. And the nominees for those are Bob's Burgers for the episode Some Like It Bot Part 1, 8th Grade Runner. Harley Quinn for the episode Batman Begins Forever. Rick and Morty for the episode Night Family. The Simpsons for the episode Treehouse of Horror 33. And finally, Tuca and Birdie for the episode The Pain Garden. Moving on up, we got Best Short Subject. And the nominees for Best Animated Short here are Amuck, Black Slide, Ice Merchants, Love Dad, and The Flying Sailor. And then we also got Best Special Production, in which the nominees for those are Prehistoric Planet, Superworm, The Boy, the Mole, the Fox, and the Horse, The House, and The Sandman. And then we got the big ones. We got the movies over here. And so the nominees for Best Indie Feature are Charlotte, Inuo, Little Nicholas, Happy as Can Be, Marcel the Shell with Shoes On, and My Father's Dragon. And then finally, we got Best Picture, the one that people have been waiting for. The nominees are Disney and Pixar's Turning Red, Guillermo del Toro's Pinocchio, Puss in Boots: The Last Wish, The Sea Beast, and finally, Wendell and Wild. And on a side note, it is also worth noting about how many animated films, or not how many animated films, but how many nominations did these movies collect? Well, or these shows as well. Now, going into the TV and media stuff, apparently the one that is leading, or the ones that are leading, are actually the specials. In which the one that's taking the lead over here is actually The Boy, the Mole, the Fox, and the Horse, that got 7 nominations. And then this is followed by House, in which that got 6 nominations. Then there is Love, Death, and Robots, in which it got 5. Followed by Baymax, in which it got 3 nominations. And then you got a whole list of animated shows that got 2 nominations, including Amphibia, Big Nate, The Cuphead Show, Intergalactic, Looney Tunes Cartoons, Oni, Thunder God's Tale, Prehistoric Planet, Spirit Rangers, Storybots Answer Time, and Tuca and Birdie. As for movies, well, it is as you would expect, but it looks like it could be a bit more competitive than before. First off, of course, you got Guillermo del Toro's Pinocchio, in which this year it has managed to collect 9 Annie Awards. But the others are not far off, though. Then you got Turning Red, in which it got 7 nominations, which is then followed by Puss in Boots: The Last Wish and The Sea Beast, in which both of them have gotten 6 nominations each. Then it was followed by The Bad Guys, where that got 5 nominations. Then we got a tie with Marcel the Shell with Shoes On and Minions: The Rise of Gru, in which that has gathered 4 nominations. Then after that, we got Wendell and Wild, that has 3 nominations. And finally, the collection of movies that have 2 nominations each include My Father's Dragon, Strange World, Mad God, Inuo, and Lightyear. And then there's also worth noting the Winsor McCay Lifetime Achievement Awards, And in this one, we actually got a bunch of familiar names that are recipients this year. First of which, we got the Chief Creative Officer at Pixar, Pete Docter, that's going to get the Winsor McKay Award. We also have the late Canadian animator and the technical director of the National Film Board of Canada, Evelyn Lambert. And finally, we got the creator of the Powerpuff Girls and Foster's Home for Imaginary Friends, Craig McCracken. So yeah, that's pretty much what we got this year. This major list of all the animated content that have been nominated. And one thing I will say, it's kind of interesting to see how there's a lot of different animated projects that they have a bit of an equal ground in terms of nominations and how much that they would go and collect, especially with the movies where, yeah, Pinocchio was the one that expectedly took the lead, where it has 9 nominations. But then again, there are others that are not far off, especially like when you got Puss in Boots: The Last Wish, The Sea Beast, and Turning Red, all having like almost the same amount with 7 and 6 nominations for each of them. So maybe this year we're going to see something that would be a bit more, how can I put this? A bit more competitive. But then again, having more nominations doesn't necessarily mean having more wins. You got to keep in mind, there have been plenty of movies in the past that they would collect like a significant amount of nominations, 10, 11, 12, and they wouldn't be the ones that would come out like as the big winner. I think I remember like it was probably a few years ago where Ralph Breaks the Internet and Incredibles 2 collected the most nominations, where they would have like 10 or 12 nominees. But then like the ultimate winner that would take like all the categories that it was in was Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse. So nominees don't necessarily mean guaranteed wins. So just keep that in mind. But I will say there are some categories that did actually surprise me. Like one thing I will say, like, yeah, there are some in which people, like some of them got 2 nominees, but you'll find that there are plenty in which you'll see that there are some movies that they would be nominated in the same category. Oh dear, what happened to my, oh dear, can you people see me? Can you people hear me? Okay, I think it's still alive. Okay, no, it's still fine. I just saw like, my streaming number just went to 0. I was like, oh crap, did it freeze? Okay, no, okay. No, we're back. We should be back. We should be okay. Okay, almost had a heart attack right there. Okay. We're good. We're back. All right. So let's go and resume things. Now, as I was saying before, yes, there are some categories that did surprise me, seeing that there's a whole bunch where they would be nominated in the same category. Like a great example is right over here for Best Character Animation in a Feature Film, where not only do you see Turning Red is nominated twice, but also The Bad Guys has actually received 2 nominations here. But that's not the only one, of course. There's also best character. Oh, I almost forgot. Like, there's also best character animation for live action and for video games. I'll just go and quickly read you those ones. Like, we got in the live action category, we got The Way of Water, Beast, Finch, Jurassic World Dominion, and Peacemaker. While for the video game category, we have Cuphead, The Delicious Last Course, which probably will be the winner, God of War Ragnarok, Horizon Forbidden West, Moss Book 2, and Potionomics. But anyways, back to what I was talking about. Yeah, there are several categories where we see like double the nominations. There's another one that's actually a good example yes, right over here. Yeah, actually it's best storyboarding. And it's funny to note on this one because of how there are because like there are some that don't have a lot of nominations in the first place, and yet half of them or all of them are actually there. Like Strange World, like these are the 2 nominations that it has on all the Annie Awards, and it's just for storyboarding. And even Minions Rise of Gru, half of which it's only on storyboarding. But then there's one that I will say is actually a massive surprise for me, and it's actually for best writing in a feature. That kind of took me aback a bit, because not only is the majority of it dominated by independent animated features. But out of all the nominees that Pinocchio got, Best Writing is not one of them. The only mainstream animated film that's nominated here is just Turning Red, while the rest is Eternal Spring, Inuel, and Marcel the Shell with Shoes On. That's kind of surprising, especially when, like, all the other categories, you see that, you know, they would list down 5 nominations, but apparently they decided to just go and stick with 4, which honestly, I find that a little bit strange. I don't know if it's something that they recently changed or decided to recently go with, but yeah, I guess that's the thing that they're just doing. But then there's also another one that I want to mention is actually Best Voice Acting in an Animated Feature. And this is one that honestly, it's pretty intriguing to see, especially when in 2022, we have gotten so many amazing animated films that have great voice acting in there. And I mean, don't get me wrong, these are all wonderful choices. Like you got David Bradley for his performance as Geppetto in Pinocchio. And then you got Gregory Mann, who played Pinocchio himself. Then you got Jenny Slate, who played Marcel in Marcel the Shell with Shoes On. Then you got Zaris Angel Hatter, who played Maisie in The Sea Beast. And finally, this is probably the fan favorite that I know you guys are going to freak out about. You got Wagner Moura for playing as the wolf in Puss in Boots: The Last Wish. Yes, that guy. But honestly, I understand that it is a very tough choice this year, but there's a whole lot that also deserves to be worth mentioning. Like some that I really did like from 2022 include Sam Rockwell and Mark Maron from The Bad Guys. I felt like they should have gotten at least a nomination. Those two were absolutely terrific in their performance. And then there's also Sandra Oh as Ming. She was also fantastic in there with her character. I think she did a wonderful performance. Honestly, for me, the one that I probably would have switched is the Sea Beast nomination and replaced that with one of those. But then again, I guess like when it comes to best voice acting, it is true that the Annies would have a bit more of a bias when it comes to child actors. So probably with Zaris Angel Hatter, when she played Maisie, she kind of got a leg up. It's kind of like the same reason why we see Gregory Mann also getting the nomination for Pinocchio. But still, and then there's also another one that did catch my eye. It's actually for Best Direction. And that I find is going to be interesting to see. And like, we got a great list here as well for the movies. Like we got Domi Shi, we got Guillermo del Toro and Mark Gustafsson. We got Dean Fleischer Camp, Kristen Lepore, and Stefan Chiboto for Marcel. We got Nora Twomey for My Father's Dragon. And of course, we got Henry Selick for Wendell and Wild. I believe, honestly, in my opinion, I feel like this one most likely gonna go with Guillermo del Toro for Pinocchio, Del Toro and Mark Gustafsson. I think like they're probably gonna end up with that one, but still, like, we got some pretty good choices here. Maybe I would switch Nora Twomey with My Father's Dragon because I do find it to be the weakest of the Cartoon Saloon films. Maybe replace it with Joel Crawford for Puss in Boots, because I mean that film was just absolutely terrific. Like, and he deserves to have like some recognition for that too. But yeah, still though, I think like we got a fine list here. But there is one thing though I do want to comment throughout all this, and this honestly reflects upon the entire Annie Awards. If there is one thing that I do hope for this year, is that we're not gonna get another sweep. Like, honestly, I'm just hoping that maybe, just maybe, that this is going to be a lot more competitive, and the wins are going to be split out instead of like being all accumulated by one film. I mean, like, there is a very strong chance that, yeah, like the big winner most likely going to be Guillermo del Toro's Pinocchio. But I like, as much as I adore that feature film, and not only do I consider it the best movie of 2022 or the best animated movie of 2022, or even like one of the best animated films of the 2020 decade so far, but I don't know if I would be down to see it like dominate all the categories that it's nominated with. You know, pretty much like what we've seen in the past years so far, how we've seen it like from Coco, then Spider-Verse, then Klaus, then a tie between Soul and Wolfwalkers, and then Mitchell's vs. the Machines. Like, if we're gonna get that again, then honestly, it's just gonna feel, you know, it's just gonna be tiring. And honestly, it just takes away so much of the credibility of the Annies. And I feel like there's a serious issue in there that really does need to be addressed. Now, it's not as bad as how it was like a decade ago with the whole How to Train Your Dragon controversy. But then again, some people might say that it could be a little bit, considering that a major chunk or a significant portion is actually towards Netflix, where Netflix has accumulated so much of the nominations. I don't know if they would say if it how much Netflix has gotten, anyways, the point is though, like, hopefully we won't see just another sweep, because honestly, at this point, it's tiring and they're not as fun as it sounds. Like, yeah, like, it's crazy when you hear that a movie or a show or whatever would go and sweep an award show. Like, that is crazy. But when that happens on a regular basis, when that's the norm, then honestly, it just becomes tiring and it takes away a lot of the credibility of the award itself. Like, is an Annie really that worth it when it's obvious that the voting system seems to be very biased for one particular project that they seem to really like? And that, I have to say, I don't know. I honestly don't. So that's just one thing that I am hoping for. Like, yeah, I am rooting for Guillermo del Toro's Pinocchio to have some wins, but I don't want to see it to have all the wins so that it completely overshadows the work of so many other talented people who have worked on other wonderful movies, such as Turning Red or Puss in Boots: The Last Wish or Wendell and Wild. So that's honestly just my comment that I am hoping that we would see for the Annie Awards. But either way, though, so far, it's a pretty interesting list that we got here, and I want to say congratulations to all the people who have been nominated this year at the Annie Awards. And if you are excited to see who are going to be the big winners, then all you have to do is wait until February 25th, when the Annie Awards will go present its big show. All right, now with that said and done, I would like to go into the chat wall, and I want to ask you all, how do you feel about the list of nominees that we have gotten this year? Are there some that really stuck out to you? The ones that, like, you're really excited to go and see who would win on that? Are there any surprises? Are there any snubs? Let me know what you think on all this. All right, let's see what we have. All right. I'll go here, actually. There are a lot of great Annie nominations this year, some more deserving of the award than others, mind you, but plenty of great ones nonetheless. I mean, that's how it usually is with all award shows, sadly. I have too many nominees I hope will win to count, but I will say that I mostly want that the Baymax short where they talk about period to win, just to watch the Disney and Baymax damn groomers crowd have another massive tantrum. Their collective caterwailing will be more beautiful music than any symphony. But then again, do those people even care about the Annies? Do they even know what the Annies are? Honestly, like, I've never seen people like really freak out about the Annie Awards. So considering its current popularity, I don't know if it's something that they can accumulate to make some kind of wackadoodle culture war with. You know, it ain't the freaking M&Ms. I'm just saying. Let's see now. Yeah, it's gonna be Pinocchio. I think we all know this at this point. Not on account of the Annie's bias problem, but because it's Pinocchio. As for the other categories, best voice acting could be a toss-up between David Bradley and Jenny Slate, since they both deliver probably their best performances in years. And I'm surprised that Luck got nominated for character design. Maybe it has better design than I remember, or maybe Asifa Hollywood were just distracted by the thick. Yeah, that is actually true. Luck did get a nomination, didn't it? And it's you said best character design. Let's just go back a little bit just to see. Yeah, right there, best character design, in which it was given to Luck, Puss in Boots: The Last Wish, The Rise of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, the movie, The Bad Guys, and Wendell and Wild. Yeah, hold on. Let me give you a better look on that, actually. There we go. You know, honestly, I'm just going to say, wow, interesting. Here's another one in which Pinocchio is not nominated for. But I will say that if there is one that I am rooting for, I got to go with Wendell and Wild, because the Pablo Lobato designs are absolutely phenomenal and they look great in that movie. But yeah, I was honestly surprised to see Luck getting a nomination here too, because for the most part, I mean, it's greatly designed, and yeah, I will admit the main character is pretty hot. But a lot of it feels like it's just trying to copy the Disney style, you know? It's trying to emulate Disney. So I don't know, like, it got, well, no pun intended, it got very lucky that it got nominated here, but I don't think it's going to be the winner, especially when you got a whole bunch of others that can easily overshadow Luck's design. All right, anyways, who else do we have? I'm actually very happy with the nominations. It's honestly great to see a lot of diversity amongst the nominees and to see so many different animated projects. Although I do have a strong feeling that Pinocchio is going to win, but hopefully this year we will see different winners because of how the Annies can sometimes have a bias towards one animated film. Yeah, exactly, and the same with me. I'm hoping that Pinocchio will win as well, but I hope that it doesn't win too much, if that makes sense. Let's see now. Congrats to all the nominees that got nominated for the Annie Awards, although I wish Joel Crawford got nominated for Best Director, or even some more recognition for mainstream films for Best Writing, with just 4 nominees towards indie films outside of Turning Red. Well, technically you mean 3. I don't have a problem, but, well, 3 for indies, but, anyways. I don't have a problem, but I believe some mainstream films deserve a bit more credit to make them stand out. Other than that, those are good nominations, and congrats to those who got nominated. All right, let's see here. First of all, I want to congratulate to all my colleagues, aka the nominees this year. Let's be honest here, we all know that Pinocchio is going to win this year no matter what. Luckily, I've seen all the nominations, including Sea Beast recently, and I liked it. But Pinocchio is going to win all of its nominations. That's my predictions, and I'm sticking to it. Side note, have you seen Baymax? It's my favorite show of the year. Oh, yes, I have. Oh my God, it is wholesome as F. It is so charming. It is so fun. And honestly, it's it plays into, once again, why I adore these Disney short series. They're fantastic. Like, not just Baymax, but also like Scrat Tales, Zootopia Plus, even the ones that we got before, like Cars on the Road, or what else? Like Doug Days, for example. Those are all fantastic. I adore them. They're great. And Baymax is like another one that's wonderful. All right, I'm gonna read one more, and then we're gonna take a break onto the next one. Let's see, who do we have? Okay, I'll go here. Now this is a pretty damn good selection for this year. I am kind of sad for how snubbed Cyberpunk Edgerunner got this, as they got only 1 nomination, but still there are some solid picks. If I had to make my picks for the winners, Wagner Moura for voice acting, The Owl House for children's TV show, Cuphead for animation and video games, Pinocchio or Puss in Boots for best animated feature, and Bob's Burgers for mature TV show. Yeah, honestly, not just Cyberpunk, but I would also say Primal as well, like for Primal Season 2. I'm surprised that one also got just 1 nomination and that's it. In fact, just to quickly go into here, just want to quickly see which one is it that which one? Yeah, okay, so we got like, yeah, for best production design in TV and media, Primal was only nominated for that episode of Echoes of Eternity. And then, yeah, oh, here it is. Apparently Cyberpunk Edgerunners only got best storyboarding for the episode Let You Down. Yeah, honestly, it's kind of surprising how there's not a whole lot for these shows, honestly. But then again, I mean, like, it's extreme, like, it was extremely competitive this year. But regardless, though, again, congratulations to all the nominations and best of luck to everyone when the Annie Awards will happen on February 25th. Now, we will be right back, and we shall go on to our next story, in which we will go dive back into some more Disney sci-fi, but not with Avatar, but this time with Grogu. And welcome back to our next story. Now, next up, like I said, we're going to take a little break from animation and we are diving back into more Disney sci-fi. But this one, however, has been anticipated for quite a while. Now, technically, you could say that we've already gotten a season 3 of this show with the Book of Boba Fett. But that one is more like a spiritual successor, and let's be honest, that one was not great. I'm not going to say that it's terrible, but not the strongest in terms of what Disney has delivered in terms of Disney Plus Star Wars content. But with this one, however, oh boy, I think the excitement for this particular character has suddenly come back up a bit. So with that said, let's go ahead and check out the trailer for the upcoming season 3 of The Mandalorian.
Our people are scattered, like stars in the galaxy. What are we? What do we stand for? Being a Mandalorian's not just learning about how to fight. You also have to know how to navigate the galaxy. That way, you'll never be lost. I'm going to Mandalore so that I may be forgiven for my transgressions.
May the Force be with you!
This is the way.
There's something dangerous happening out there. And by the time it becomes big enough for you to act, it'll be too late.
Hang on, kid. This is the way.
And that is season 3 of The Mandalorian, to which it will be making its debut on Disney Plus starting March 1st. And I will say, so far, I have been following The Mandalorian, and honestly, it's been a really awesome show so far. Well, okay, that is if you don't count the Book of Boba Fett. Again, like, nothing against it, but I mean, technically, if we do count it in, like, the Mandalorian... What the fridge am I speaking like Porky Pig right now? In the Mandalorian lineup, if we do count it on that, then technically, the Book of Boba Fett is pretty weak compared to the other 2 seasons. But with this one in particular, I gotta say, man, did it really catch my interest. Like, it just caught my eye. I see what it's doing, and oh boy, I think we're gonna be in for something really special. Like, one thing I will say is that it does tease a lot about the action. Like, they do promise that for sure it's going to be one heck of an action-packed series, similar to how it was before. Like, we do see a lot of chase scenes as usual. Like, we see we see the Mandalorian and Grogu like running for their lives and stuff. Like, especially like fighting against, like, we see surrounded by a bunch of TIE fighters. But then there's also another one that it got me pretty curious. We got this part where we see a bunch of Jedis getting their lightsabers ready because someone is going to be opening the door. Like, okay, like, if we're gonna have more lightsaber action, okay, then let me see, like, how is this gonna be? I'm not expecting, like, something too much out of it, but it's like, okay, it's curious to see that, like, we're seeing the lightsabers up and ready on this one, because I don't know, I could be wrong, but it's pretty rare that we would actually see a lightsaber outside of the big Luke cameo at the end of season 2, of course. But now that we're entering what may look like the Jedi Council, like, now's like someone's about to enter in and we're gonna get some like Jedi lightsaber action. things are gonna get pretty interesting from there. And then, of course, like, we see, like, big battles happening where, like, you got all the Mandalorians, like, coming together. And, oh, yeah, we got the we're getting these guys. They're coming back. Honestly, I don't care how you feel about the sequel trilogy. Like, I think it's safe to say these guys coming back, I'll allow, like, we must allow it. Like, these are cool, especially, like, when, what was it? Babu Frick? Yeah, like technically Babu Frick was the best thing about Rise of Skywalker. So honestly, it should be fine. Like, honestly, seeing them again, okay, that's actually pleasant to see. I'm actually pretty cool with it. And then, but then also, like, not only are we getting, like, a lot of battles, a lot of chases, but also, like, we're going to see Grogu in action as well. Like, we see the intruder suddenly get flung out, and it's actually because of Grogu using the Force. So we also have that. So this is definitely something in which we are going to be promised that excuse me, people. As I was saying, this is definitely going to be something that we will be seeing a lot of action, like that Star Wars epicness that people love to go and check out. This is definitely going to deliver. But for me, what I have to say is the most interesting part about season 3 of The Mandalorian, the one thing that really did catch my attention, and the thing that I feel like is going to be really interesting, is the fact that this time around, The Mandalorian is gonna be about The Mandalorian. Because really think about it, in the past seasons, like, it's not necessarily about the main character. Like, season 1 was more of an introduction of who Grogu is. And even season 2 is a little bit more of an extension to that. It's figuring out, like, the first season is an introduction to Grogu. The second is to establish what is Grogu's purpose? Like, why is Grogu so important? What do we need to learn more about Grogu? But this time around, things are changing up, where now The Mandalorian is going to be about The Mandalorian. We're going to learn more about the Mandalore. We're going to learn about the planet, where they come from, like, what is the team, the history of it. Like, now they're legit going to go down into that path, especially when especially when the Mandalorian himself actually has a little bit of a history that he wants to seek forgiveness about his past troubles, about what he has done. Like, now we're actually going to go and see the Mandalorians actually take action. Now we're going to see, like, their chapter and their time to shine. Because we've been following the Mandalorian for so long, and we want to learn more, not just about him, but also, like, everything that he stands for, and, like, his origins, his people, and where he came from. Like, that I think is going to be very fascinating to go and see, and like something that can really help expand upon the character. That's honestly something that I can't wait to check out, something that really should go and, like, spice things up with the series in order to give us something new, and something, like, hopefully will make the character very interesting. And not to mention, by the way, like, I just realized now what could be some of the past troubles, because technically, yes, it is true that the Mandalorian himself has actually broken some of his own rules, some of the Mandalorian laws, per se. Like, one great example is, like, at the end of season 1, when there was the big battle between, like, some of the crew, you know, some of, like, the main people versus Space Gus Fring and his army of stormtroopers. And then there was a moment where the Mandalorian has no choice but to take off his mask, and we see Pedro Pascal's face. And that was, you know, and that is technically, like, a major no-no with these bounty hunters. So that could be, like, that could be something that, like, he needs to go and, like, apologize for or seek for forgiveness. There's a lot of possibilities in there, but, you know, honestly, for me, I feel like I'm very interested to learn more about what's going to be with the Mandalorian, and, like, now we got more opportunities for this to go and expand. So honestly, with all this, I gotta say, as someone who does follow the series, I'm actually I'm pretty excited with what they have in store. I'm pretty like there's not a whole lot that they are showing, which is fine because this is a trailer. It is doing its job to like maintain a lot of the surprises, but it is showing us like some of the essential things that we would like to see and now go and expand it. They got an interesting idea of what the story could be that they could go and like really tell a lot about for that they would go and explain for the Mandalore, for the world building and stuff like that. So they got an interesting premise for the story, and they're promising us a whole bunch of Star Wars like action, whether it be chase scenes on spaceships and TIE fighters and stuff like that, Jedis ready with their lightsabers, and even like big battles happening in deserted planets and all that kind of stuff. Like we are literally seeing some Star Wars taking action. So yeah, honestly, I'm pretty hyped up with season 3 of The Mandalorian, and I can't wait to jump back into this show. And if you are also excited to go and check out season 3 of The Mandalorian, then keep in mind it will be coming out on Disney Plus starting March 1st. All right, so with that said, I would like to go into the chat wall, and I want to ask you all, how do you feel about this trailer of The Mandalorian? Are you all excited about it? Are you a little concerned about it? Are you a little weary that it might not be as good as before? If you have any additional questions, go and write them down. Let me know. All right, let's see. This trailer got me excited. Personally, I'm not really a Star Wars fan. I have watched The Mandalorian, and it definitely is an awesome series. And season 3 looks solid as well. The action looks awesome, and I'm looking forward to see more of the relationship between Mando and Grogu. So overall, I'm excited. Also, it's great to see how Pedro Pascal has been getting a lot of work lately with The Mandalorian, with not just that, but also the Last of Us series on HBO. Yeah, honestly, it's kind of crazy to see like the amount of praise that The Last of Us has gotten, because I remember a lot of fans of the game like have been very hesitant. They were very unsure with how things would go. The trailers were a little bit promising, and then suddenly the series was released, and now it's like people are calling it one of the best video game adaptations out there. It's kind of crazy to see, but also pretty exciting. I don't know. I've never played The Last of Us. I don't know, like, and I probably do have access to the series, considering that the Canadian version of HBO Max is technically Crave, but not really. But anyways, who knows? But you know what? It's great to see Pedro Pascal like being involved with like great series after great series. You know, he's been doing an amazing job. All right, let's see what else we have here. I may be biased as a Mandalorian fan and as someone who's planning on writing his own Star Wars series, but this looks pretty sick. Pedro Pascal still doing a great job as always. The visuals are still top notch, and the action scenes seem to be upped here. This will be a must watch for me, but for now, I gotta ask, how are they gonna address Cara Dune's absence? Are they gonna say Cara can't be here as she migrated to the Dali YR system and become a grifter? Oh my God, that is, that's gonna be interesting, honestly. I'm sure that's going to be like one thing that like it's either they'll make a quick address that she's off on some mission. Like they'll probably just make a quick mention that like she has a mission she's got to go to somewhere else. And they'll just say that she died along the way so that we can ensure that she'll never come back. Or they're just not going to mention it. They're just going to say nothing at all. Just be silent about it. Just pretend she never existed in the first place. Out of sight, out of mind, you know. So that's probably going to be the big thing with Cara Dune. And it's funny to see like the position right now that Gina Carano is in, because recent reports actually came out that apparently the big Daily Wire movie that she was in, the one that's supposed to like reignite her career after Disney canceled her, turned out to be like a massive flop, only like just barely crossing like the 5-digit mark at the global box office. And now conservatives are just completely rejecting her, like calling her woke, because of the fact that she failed to advance the agenda of go woke, go broke because a conservative movie went broke. Like now they're just like throwing her in the trash. And now Gina Carano is just left with nothing. Like she's pretty much done. Like hated by the left and the right, and now she's like poof, just gone. I don't know how the frick she's gonna advance her career from there. Anyways, let's see what we got here. Oh yeah, Mandalorian has to easily be the best out of the Disney new Star Wars media alongside Andor. So I am certainly very excited to see even more action with our favorite bounty hunter and baby duo. If there is something I am worried about though, is if we will have to watch other shows to get the context for some things. As I bet that there are some people that didn't know that Mando reunited with Grogu at the end of the Book of Boba Fett. So I hope there won't be any of that in the future. Yeah, honestly, I think at the most it would just be for that. I think it's just going to be for the Book of Boba Fett and that's it. Like, just go back to the Book of Boba Fett, get the context of how the Mandalorian reunited with Grogu, and that's it. I don't think they're gonna go like really far where they're gonna go like, oh well, if you want to understand this context, then you have to watch this series or you have to watch that, you know. Like, I know season 2 had a little bit of that kind of fan service that needs more context, including like our first ever the first time that we see Ahsoka Tano in live action, or like we see Luke Skywalker suddenly coming back. Like, yeah, there might be a few things that like would require context. I don't know if they're gonna do that much for season 3, or hopefully they won't do that much. Or especially they won't do as much as the Book of Boba Fett. Like, honestly, I recall there are some moments where they're trying to make like, oh my god, he's back! Who the fridge is that? Okay, but anyways, who else do we have here? Just want to see other comments that people may have. All right, fine. I'll go with this one. I definitely can't wait to see the new season of The Mandalorian. I was disappointed with the Book of Boba Fett. Find Obi-Wan to be good and find Andor to be okay, despite being in the minority as everyone claims it as the best Star Wars series yet. For this season, I really want to see more of Mandalorian lore, so I can't wait. Also, kudos to Pedro Pascal for this year with this and the Last of Us series, with the latter being one of the best video game adaptations out there. So kudos to him. Oh yeah, absolutely. What else? Is there any other comments? Okay, I think I'll read one more and then we'll go and jump onto the next story after the break. I'm so glad that we're getting another season of The Mandalorian without Gina Carano in it. Some of the other Disney Plus Star Wars shows we've been getting have been just okay in my opinion, but I am super excited for this. It looks like they're gonna pull out all the stops this season. Now all we need is Disney Baby Avengers special with Grogu, Baby Groot, Maggie Simpson, and Jack Parr. I don't know, that just the fact that you add in Maggie Simpson, that just sounds like another idea for like one of those like cringy Simpson shorts. I don't know, I wouldn't be excited for that. But yeah, honestly, I just gotta say though that when it comes to Obi-Wan, I don't know if I'm in the minority. I actually really like that show. Like, it's not perfect and there are like several problems with it, but that ending though, like, oh man, that ending. Oh, that was so beautiful. That was great. A wonderful connection between the prequels and the sequels right there. Definitely fantastic. All right, but anyways, we're going to go back to a commercial break, and then when we do return, we will go into one more Disney sci-fi world. One that people are very excited to jump back into, but maybe not excited to jump back with. You'll know what I mean later. And we are back. Now for our next story, we're going to dive into, like I said before, one more Disney sci-fi world. But this one, however, it's been honestly a pretty long time since we have heard from it. And what I'm referring to specifically is Tron. Now, this year already, we are getting a bit of a comeback from the franchise, especially in Walt Disney World, when recently Disney has actually announced that the next big attraction that will be in the Magic Kingdom, Tron Light Cycle Run, which is a clone to the one in Shanghai Disneyland, that ride is actually going to open on April 4th. So already the Tron hype has pretty much begun, and people are ready to get excited to jump onto those light cycles and enter that digital world. However, Disney is also planning to go and make a movie. Yes, we're going to have a 3rd Tron movie, but this one will come a bit with a catch, because as much as people are excited to get back into Tron, they're not sure if they want to go back with these guys in particular, specifically Jared Leto and Joachim Rønning. Yes, reports have officially come out that Disney is starting to become a bit more positive that they want to go and make a 3rd Tron movie. Now, the idea of a 3rd Tron movie, that has been existing for quite a long time, and they've already established a few things, like one of which being the title itself, in which it is called Tron Ares. And they've even selected a star for that picture, in which they wanted Jared Leto to be in the film. In fact, I believe in my source here on Deadline, they did actually describe a little bit about that little scenario. Yes. Apparently, it's stated right over here that reading from my source on Deadline, the studio got close in 2017 with Leto. Now it will be in the hands of Rønning, or, oh, okay. It didn't necessarily, okay, never mind. I thought I thought that section would go and describe that, they would go and describe it, but, okay, so no, it's just to say that back in 2017, they hired Jared Leto to go and be, the star of Tron Ares, but nothing ever came out of it since. Like, we've heard rumors that Disney wanted to do, a sequel to Tron Legacy, or to make that 3rd Tron movie, but there was just no traction that happened. But then it looks like very recently they have talked with director Joachim Rønning in the hopes that with the script that had been written by Jesse Wigatow, that they would go and actually start filming this in August. So they got the script ready, they got their star ready. Now they just need to make sure they got the director prepared, and then they should be all set. Now, the only catch, though, is that considering that we are still in very early stage, we don't necessarily have an idea of when this is going to come out. They didn't necessarily confirm it. And considering that if things do work out and that they would go start filming it this August, then we're not going to see a release date until like maybe 2025 at the earliest, or maybe even 2026. But either way, we know that now a 3rd Tron movie is becoming more and more possible now that we are getting our key players in place, or at least with the or at least like it's yet to be determined with the director, because Disney is still in early negotiations with Joachim Rønning. So yeah, as I said before, a lot of people do want to have a 3rd Tron movie. When I saw all the replies and all the reactions to this new Tron movie with Tron Ares, a lot of people did get excited because Tron is a very revolutionary movie. Like, it does have a significant fan base, and a lot of people do want to have more, like not just Tron products, but like to have more Tron adventures. Even when it comes to the sequel, Tron Legacy, like, yeah, it was a pretty decent sized hit back then, but then it was one of those movies that I feel like it just came and went immediately, that, you know, people were talking about it back then a little bit, but then after its release, like, poof, suddenly it just, nobody cared about it anymore. People just quickly moved on. But, however, I will say very recently, though, I am starting to notice that it's regaining a little bit more back into popularity. Like, I've actually seen in my recommendations on YouTube that there have been some people who have recently created some video essays in regards to Tron Legacy and, like, giving it some high praise. So, who knows? Maybe Tron Legacy could turn out to be, like, a major sleeper hit, and, like, more people will talk about it and they will say, yeah, that was an awesome movie. We should have more Tron films. So, I know for a fact that the interest is definitely there to make a Tron movie, but the most common complaint that people have mentioned, or the most common thing people have said about it, is that they're not happy that we will have one with Jared Leto. And I just gotta say that when it comes to Jared Leto, lately he's not been having a good time when it comes to his PR, or at least when it comes to the movies that he was in. Because Jared Leto has gradually been getting himself more involved with big name franchise movies, like those big budgeted blockbusters. Like now we're starting to see Jared Leto more and more becoming a familiar name in there. But whenever he does get involved with those, it doesn't end well, and especially when people point out that he is one of the weaker parts of it. A great example is back in 2016 with Suicide Squad when he played the Joker, and now people have almost unanimously called him the weakest Joker, or at least the weakest Joker in terms of live action adaptations. That his performance or his interpretation, it was a lot more laughable, and I don't mean that in a good way. Especially like when you're gonna have a joke, you're gonna have a Joker coming in who literally has the word damage on his forehead. I think honestly, like it just feels like something that just subtlety is just thrown out the window, and it just looks more like a parody of Joker than actually the Joker. So yeah, we got that. So there was already that, but then came last year in 2022 when we had what is possibly the most embarrassing movie of that year, Morbius. Like that thing really did become a joke, and it ended up becoming a major scar in Sony's plan with what they want to do with the Spider-Man franchise, considering that not only did that movie flop, but it pretty much became the only movie in recent history to have flopped twice. Like, you remember when people they were going crazy with the Morbentine meme, and it pretty much, and Sony was there looking at it going, oh, that must mean there must be some more interest for it. Let's go and release it on the big screen again. And it didn't even crack $1 million. It like, at the most, it only surpassed like $250,000 at the box office, and that was it. Like, it really was the movie that just flat out embarrassed itself. And especially with Jared Leto being the face of Morbius and being one of the weaker actors in the film, like, it just not, it's just not been working out for the guy. And it just feels like, honestly, when a project is cursed when Jared Leto is involved, or at least when it comes to big mainstream movies. And yet, even with that, it's surprising to see how, like, despite the fact that many people are not interested and how many people don't have really fond feelings for Jared Leto, we still see him appear and like getting hired into more of these live action films, especially Disney getting involved with Jared Leto. That, I think it's nuts, because keep in mind, it's not just that he's going to be in Tron, but later this year, Jared Leto, and I still can't believe I'm saying this, but Jared Leto will be the Hatbox Ghost in the Haunted Mansion reboot. Like, that's going to be a thing. Now, rather if he's going to have like a big appearance or if it's just a cameo, I have no idea, but still, just that idea is, it just seems weird. It's like, why? That makes no sense whatsoever. That shouldn't be a sentence to be said. But but especially, I think the worst thing about it, and what feels very uncomfortable with Jared Leto being involved, is that I'm not going to compare him to Ezra Miller, but my God, is the dude really close in terms of his own baggage. Because there have been a lot of allegations against Jared Leto, and many of them are very serious that should be looked upon once again, because we've already heard about the crazy stories about Jared Leto with the fact that he would be, that he literally owns an island where he's a cult leader in there. And that's not an allegation. That's an actual fact that you can go look up online, and you'll actually see some photographic evidence of Jared Leto dressing up like Jesus with his like large list of disciples just following him on that island. And allegedly the things that he would do there, oh boy, yeah, there's a reason why it's on an island, because those would be serious crimes in other countries of the world, let's just say. So yeah, like Jared Leto is just this massive baggage that not many people really do enjoy or really like. It's not really a name, and after Morbius, it's been proven that he's not really a name that can really draw the crowds to go and watch like a big budgeted movie on the big screen. So it's kind of surprising that like these big studios, especially Disney, is still bringing him on board. And honestly, I feel like with Jared Leto, that when it comes to his career and when it comes to his acting and stuff like that, maybe he should consider at least taking a break from making these big movies. I'm not saying that he should stop acting altogether, but what I am saying is that maybe he should step back from making these big budgeted blockbusters and stick more to small indie films, because that seems to be where he's the strongest. I believe that's where he even got his Oscar. You know, that's where, like, you know, he works out a lot better in smaller films than in bigger films. He's one of those actors. But I will say, though, that there is another name that is involved in this that, for me personally, I'm not really that excited for this version of Tron. And that is in regards to the director, Joachim Rønning. Now, Joachim Rønning has already done like a few films in the past, but when it comes to his big budgeted movies, especially the ones involving Disney, they're not that great. Because in the past, he started his work with Disney by directing the 5th Pirates of the Caribbean film, Dead Men Tell No Tale. And I will say that one is just okay. It's not great. It's not the best among the Pirates of the Caribbean films, but I do tolerate that more than either At World's End or whatever that 4th movie is. I definitely do like it more than those. And when it comes to the 5th one, like, I just consider it to be okay because that's the one that finished off the Pirates of the Caribbean franchise. Like, okay, I was completely annoyed by Jack Sparrow in the 5th movie, but if this is the one that, like, we could say they all lived happily ever after, the end for, like, the Pirates of the Caribbean movies, like, we finally say goodbye to Jack Sparrow, Will Turner, Elizabeth Swann, and stuff like that. Okay, fine, I'll take it. You know, we're done. We can finally move on. But then after that, he directed Maleficent, Mistress of Evil. And oh man, that film, what a hot mess that was. Like, if we can go and actually count sequels into it, then I would consider Maleficent, Mistress of Evil to be one of the worst Disney live action remakes out there. Like, honestly, it's up there alongside Dumbo and Pinocchio. Like, it really is that bad. It really is that much of a hot garbage where it feels like they take a lot of the things that went wrong with the first Maleficent and really amplified it so much. And apparently there is a 3rd movie that Joachim Rønning is working on right now with Disney, and it's apparently a Disney Plus drama movie called Young Woman and the Sea, in which it will star Daisy Ridley. And I don't know when that one is going to be coming out, but apparently that's going to be a thing that will be released. But what I'm trying to say is that, honestly, I'm not too fond of his directing work with what he did with Dead Men Tell No Tale and Maleficent, Mistress of Evil. And the fact that we're getting another one of those big name franchise Disney movies that he's going to be directing, and if it's going to be in the level of those, then honestly, I'm personally not that excited. Like, already I'm seeing negative signs. And plus we're getting the combo of Jared Leto as well. I'm sorry, but I feel like unless I can be proven wrong when the trailer comes out and showing us something amazing, this is so far looking like it's going to be a recipe for disaster. Like, I don't know, at least in terms of story, at least in terms of acting, there's just a lot of it that doesn't, it feels like this will end up becoming the weakest of the Tron projects that, yeah, the grand return will be spoiled by those 2 individuals. I mean, again, I could be proven totally wrong. And I mean, we are very early in the production stage where they're only starting to film in Vancouver, if it goes well, in August, by the way. But I don't know. just hearing that, like, we're getting a movie with Rønning directing and Leto starring in it. Yeah, I don't know. It's just, I might have to skip on this one. Already, it just sounds unappealing, but that's just me. All right, so with that said, I would like to go into the chat wall, and I want to ask you all, how do you feel about the news of Tron Ares, that we're going to be getting a movie that might be directed by Joachim Rønning and starring Jared Leto? Are you excited for this? Are you a little bit concerned? Let me know what you all think. All right, let's see what we got here. I really enjoyed Tron Legacy as a kid, and I can't wait to see more of it with Tron Ares. But the problem is that Jared Leto is in it. Ew. And they got the director of Maleficent, Mistress of Evil. Oh dear. I'm afraid it's going to be a disaster. I'm sorry. I want it to be good, but yikes. With those guys involved, I bet it's not going to go well. Get ready for something Tron in time memes. Oh yeah. I mean, like, to be fair, the chat wall has already begun trying to swarm that wall with a bunch of like Morbin time like jokes and stuff like that. Let's see. At this very moment, we are seeing the global impact of Morbius, and by the end of the year, Morbius will replace Biden as the president of the world and morb all of us. See what I mean? Joking aside, I have a soft spot with the Tron franchise since both of the films are good. The animated series is severely underrated, and I can't wait for the ride this summer. Oh yeah, I almost forgot about that animated show. Yeah, like that's another one that apparently turned out to be a massive underrated gem. Kind of, it had a bit of the same fate as the first Tron, where it flopped at first, but then gradually over time, it accumulated a major cult following. But without having the legacy team coming back, no Daft Punk, and Jared Leto, I will wait and see if it's actually Tron in time. Oh yeah, that's true, because it's true that Daft Punk did actually do the soundtrack of Tron Legacy, and I think like a few years ago they did broke up, didn't they? Yeah, oh, that is true. Yeah, I don't know, like maybe you'll have to find some other EDM player to go and do the things. I don't follow music at all, so I don't know who to recommend. Like, I want to say deadmau5, but then again, is deadmau5 still doing music? Maybe? I don't know. All right, anyways, yes, Dr. Michael Tronbius back at it again. But all jokes aside, I freaking hate Jared Leto. Not only is he just flat out a weird person, but I've yet to find a performance of his that he didn't morb up with his weird method acting. As for the director, I personally would have preferred it if Joseph Kosinski came back, but for now, I may need to give it a skip and try to distract myself from it. I hear Pilot's Help. I swear that's my last Morbius joke. You liar, man. I know you got a whole bunch of Morbius jokes in you, man. Yeah, I'll believe it when I see it. No, but honestly, that is true. And I mean, like, you know, it's interesting to see how Joe Kosinski, like, yeah, he did actually direct Tron Legacy, but then again, like, I don't know if he would have time to go and direct that Tron movie, because let's just say right now, his career has gotten a significant boost after directing Top Gun Maverick. So I think that guy is going to be massively high on demand. Let's see, what else do we got here? This is a terrible idea. While I'm not against the idea of a new Tron movie, but not like this. Jared Leto is one of the most problematic actors right now, and the box office poison after the failure of Morbius. This is a decision I expect from Warner Brothers Discovery, not Disney, so overall, I'm not excited. And this is making me question the fate of the upcoming Haunted Mansion reboot later this year, since Jared Leto is playing the Hatbox Ghost in that film. But again, I mean, like we'll have to wait and see with how that one is going to be in particular, considering that, they mentioned that there's going to be a bunch of like cameos and stuff like that, and they are going to be primarily focusing on original characters. So we don't know if Jared Leto is just going to be just a cameo just to say like, hey, look, the Hatbox Ghost is here, or if he's gonna have like a prominent role in there. Like I believe in the Guillermo del Toro version that was canceled, I think like, correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe the Hatbox Ghost had a prominent role in that one. But then again, that's not the one we're getting. We're gonna get this one, so who the fridge knows. Let's see what else we have here. If Disney really does go forward with not just Jared Leto, who just got nominated for for a Razzie again in Worst Actor for Mobius, by the way, but maybe going forward with the fifth Pirates film and Maleficent 2 director, then I don't have any high hopes for it. I don't know what Disney sees in these guys, but I don't want to watch a movie featuring those guys' involvement, and it's just going to come out crap and worse than the second film. I'm not looking forward to the next Tron film overall. All right, then. I think I'm going to read one more comment before we move on to the grand finale. So, well, at least they didn't cast Ezra Miller, but yeah, I'll be lying if I said that I was less than jazzed about this news. Still, this won't deter me from seeing this movie. Live-action Disney movies that aren't remakes and aren't Marvel or Star Wars related have become a rarity. I mean, Tron has been in 2 Kingdom Hearts games and has its own Tomorrowland coaster. I'm going to at least check this out. Not looking forward to the memes, though. Oh, yeah, they're definitely going to happen no matter what. All right, now tune in for the next episode in which we will have the grand finale, and we're going to go back into animation, but specifically what Netflix will have in store. And this is it. We have finally made it to the grand finale. And with this finale, what we are going to be focusing on is Netflix. Now, very recently, they have made some big reveals about what is going to come in 2023. But also, one major news that has been revealed, and honestly, I almost forgot about this until someone in the chat wall actually did bring it up. But apparently, one of the founders and one of the CEOs of Netflix actually resigned. So that's definitely going to be something that will shake up the company in the future. But what I'm going to be focusing specifically is going to be what Netflix will have in store in 2023. Now, I know that when it comes to Netflix, the animation fans out there, they're not really all that fond of the company, especially with all the recent cancellations that they've been doing and people being massively upset over the cancellations of shows such as Inside Job and Dead End. So yeah, like their cancellation spree and what they've done last year with all the layoffs and stuff like that, not very admirable. But that doesn't change that there's still plenty in store that Netflix will have for us. So with that said, let's go ahead and take a look at their 2023 animation lineup. Now, I know that there have been plenty more announcements that Netflix has done overall, including a whole bunch of live action projects that will be coming soon, including some big budgeted ones, but I'm just going to primarily focus on what they have with their animation lineup. Give those a big highlight, and I'll be commenting on them along the way. So, first things first, one thing that they have revealed is actually the movies and even their release dates, actually, in which the first one we'll go and talk about is actually going to be the debut of Animal Logic after that they got acquired by Netflix, in which it is called The Magician's Elephant. And this is actually going to be based on the book by Kate DiCamillo, and it will be directed by veteran DreamWorks animation artist Wendy Rogers. Now, the plot about The Magician's Elephant, it is stated right over here, reading from my source on Animation Magazine. When Peter, voiced by Noah Jupe, I think that's how you say his name, or Jupe or Hupe, whatever, who is searching for his long-lost sister named Adele, played by Pixie Davies, crosses path with a fortune teller in the market square, there is only one question on his mind. Is his sister still alive? The answer? That he must find a mysterious elephant and the magician, played by Benedict Wong, who will conjure it, sets Peter off on a harrowing journey to complete 3 seemingly impossible tasks that will change the face of his town forever and take him on the adventure of a lifetime. And we've also gotten some pictures over here with the character Peter alongside the titular elephant. And they even mention about other people that are among the cast, which includes Cian Clifford, Natasha Demetriou, Don French, Brian Tyree Henry, Asif Madvi, Mandy Patinkin, Miranda Richardson, Cree Summer, and Lorraine Toussaint. In which the movie, it is stated that it will officially be coming out on March 17th. And also, by the way, I just have a quick question that I would like to ask you all. For anybody who follows the MCU, is there a part that I'm missing something? Was there something that happened in either like WandaVision or in Multiverse of Madness where we actually see Wong deciding to go and get himself an elephant? I don't know. I feel like there's somehow this weird connection that somehow we got Benedict Wong and now he's playing a magician. Is this a hidden MCU movie or something? Or is this something that they're going to go and explain later? Maybe in the third, you know, like they'll probably explain this in the third Doctor Strange movie, in which they will call Doctor Strange Wong Gets an Elephant. Like, we'll probably have that explanation. I don't know. It's just, I don't know. For me, I just feel like it's pretty funny to see Benedict Wong. Now he's being typecast as a magician. So, like, the Wong legacy shall continue. All right. But anyways, this isn't the only announcement that Netflix has done. We also got a brand new animated feature that they have revealed, in which it is going to be called Leo. And this is actually going to be noted to be Adam Sandler's animated debut after Hotel Transylvania. So it's stated right over here. Leo explores the last year of elementary school as seen through the eyes of a class pet. Jaded 74-year-old lizard Leo, played by Adam Sandler, which, by the way, this is Leo over here, has been stuck in the same Florida classroom for decades with his terrarium mate Turtle, played by Bill Burr. When he learns he only has 1 year left to live, he plans to escape to experience life on the outside, but instead gets caught up in the problems of his anxious students, including an impossibly mean substitute teacher. It ends up being the strangest, most rewarding bucket list ever. And on top of Bill Burr and Adam Sandler, the other members of the cast include Cecily Strong, Jason Alexander, Rob Schneider, Sadie, Sunny, and Jackie Sandler, Heidi Gardner, Nick Swardson, Nicholas Turturro, Robert Smigel, Joe Coy, and Stephanie Sue. And we already got a confirmation of when this is actually going to be coming out, in which they decided to put a release date on November 22nd. So it's going to be a pretty competitive time in animation. While Leo will stay on streaming, but on the big screen, there's also going to be other animated projects that will fight in order to get people's attention, including Trolls 3 and Disney's Wish. So there is that. And in terms of this one, funny enough, Netflix did put out a video, pretty much giving us like sneak peeks of all the upcoming projects that they have. And the only animated one that they did show was actually this one, Leo, which I will say the animation is not that bad, actually. It actually does look pretty solid. But I mean, ultimately we will have to go and wait and see. But also I will say, just to quickly comment that the plot line, honestly, it's kind of funny how like nowadays we're getting more and more of these animated features that dive into the more, that dive into the people's mortality, that we're looking upon life and death. And it's not just like with Leo, but like we've recently gotten that with Puss in Boots: The Last Wish. And even the year prior, like we already got Vivo that kind of does look into life and death and legacy. And now we're kind of getting something similar with this one. So I don't know, like we'll see how it goes with this one. Maybe this will work out. And I mean, it is interesting that we are seeing Adam Sandler in more animated content. And I mean, like, the dude is a terrific actor, and I mean, if he can use that talent onto more animated projects outside of Hotel Transylvania, then I'm down for it, honestly. All right, the next step that we do have here, in which they would go and talk about, is the Monkey King. Although, interestingly enough, it is worth noting that there is no official release date onto this one. And even the description that they have is just a little bit small. However, they did mention that this is actually going to be directed by Anthony Stacchi, who previously was the director of The Box Trolls and Open Season. And it's stated right over here, The Monkey King is an action-packed family comedy that follows a monkey and his magical fighting stick as they team up on an epic quest where they must go head-to-head against gods, demons, dragons, and the greatest enemy of them all, monkey's own ego. And it even features a cast that includes Jimmy O Yang, Bowen Yang, Jolie Hoang Rappaport, Joe Coy, Ron Huan, Ron Yuan, Hoon Lee, Stephanie Su, Andrew Pang, Andrew Kishino, Jody Long, Jamie C, and BD Wong. And again, we don't necessarily have a confirmed release date as of yet, but I will say this one, I am intrigued by it. I'm not going to say immediately that, oh, this is going to be epic, I can't wait for this, but I will say that, honestly, I am interested in the Monkey King story. I remember there was an old animated feature that I saw, like a 1960s Chinese animated feature that I believe you can actually find it for free on YouTube, that is based on the story of the Monkey King. And it was actually very fascinating and very well told, very well done. And that's how it actually ignited my interest in the story of the Monkey King. And I don't mean like the recent like Monkey King film and the film movie, like the film series, like with CG and stuff like that. Like this one was like a really old one. So it's interesting that now like we are getting a new version of this Monkey King story, but there is a part of me that is a bit hesitant, honestly, and that is because of who is involved in this. Like, we got Anthony Stacchi, who previously directed The Box Trolls and Open Season, but it looks like it's going to be the entire Open Season crew, because on top of the director, we also got the writers of Open Season, Stephen Betchich, Ron J. Friedman, and Rita Hsiao. So yeah, like apparently it's the Open Season team working on the Monkey King. And that's the part where I feel a little bit hesitant. I'm honestly not too big on the Open Season movies. They're not the worst things that Sony Animation put out. Like, in my opinion, I'd rather take this than like the Hotel Transylvania films, the Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs films, or like even like the Smurfs or the Emoji Movie or whatever. But like, not the worst that Sony has done, but not amongst their good films. definitely that. So honestly, it's at that point where it's like, okay, maybe they'll turn out something pretty interesting, but it's not like the fact that it's from those Open Season people, it's not really giving me a lot of confidence. So honestly, that one we will have to wait and see. But then following afterwards, they also looked upon some of their animated shows, in which they have revealed that coming February 24th, we are getting a season 2 of Oddballs that will be happening. And they even revealed a new interactive animated series that's going to be coming soon called We Lost Our Human, which will be released on March 21st. And we even have a bit of a description in which it states, the adventure begins when two pets wake up one day to discover that every human on Earth has disappeared. Desperate to find their owner, Pud the cat and Ham the dog venture out into worlds for the first time ever and wind up on a wild trip through the universe. Discovering strange new worlds, bizarre creatures, and general mayhem, this grumpy cat and overly excited dog soon realize that every choice they make has a huge consequence, and the journey to find their beloved owner is anything but ordinary. in which it features a cast that includes Ben Schwartz, Ayo Adebiri, Adrienne C. Moore, and Lauren Tom. And once again, this show is actually going to be coming out on March 21st. And it's kind of interesting how lately Netflix has been doing more and more of like this animated content. I know this is not the first one, and like the first ones that they have done, they're just like small experiments. They have yet to like really burst into the mainstream, but you know, kind of interesting that we are seeing this going on, especially like this this post-apocalyptic universe in which like a dog and a cat has to go and find like their owner. And like even one of the voices is Ben Schwartz, so that's a sign that like it's gonna be a good time. And then finally, we got the full list in the bottom of the page, in which they have revealed the dates of the stuff that will be coming out throughout 2023 on Netflix. So they mentioned that season 2 of Kung Fu Panda: The Dragon Knight is now available on Netflix. Then January 30th, not only are we getting the debut of Princess Power, but we are also getting Minions: The Rise of Gru that will be coming in there, or at least some of you guys, considering that it will be released in the US and Australia. Then February 9th will be the debut of My Dad the Bounty Hunter. And then we got February 24th, which I believe is the same time as season 2 of Oddballs. They are going to be premiering part 2 of Pokemon Ultimate Journeys, the series. And then they have also provided a list of the animated content that will be coming to Netflix in 2023, but have yet to have gotten an official release date. But we know they are going to be coming out on Netflix. And these include Chicken Run: Dawn of the Nugget, the already mentioned Monkey King, Nimona, and Ugly Dolls, which I think they're they said licensed in selected regions. So I'm guessing, like, I don't think this is anything new. I think it's like the 2019 movie. Kind of weird to announce it, but okay, I guess. And then we got a whole bunch of shows that are making their debuts and getting new seasons. So we are going to be having the series, the premiere of Cocomillion Lane, Dewdrop Diaries, Mama K's Team 4, Mech Cadets, My Little Pony Tell Your Tale, I believe it's going to be the debut on Netflix, and Not Quite Narwhal, as well as brand new seasons of Spirit Rangers, Shark Dog, and The Dragon Prince. So all of that is going to be coming soon on Netflix. And I know there's going to be plenty more to come. And I am very well aware that the most anticipated ones have yet to announce a release date, because I know like one thing a lot of people are a bit disappointed by is the fact that Nimona has yet to have gotten a release date. We don't know when that's going to be coming out. Although if I would go and make my prediction, I'm guessing maybe we'll have it in the summer, but maybe I could be wrong. Who the fridge knows? But I will say, if there's one project that I am very excited for, honestly, you know, as crazy as it sounds, I'm kind of interested in Leo. I am actually curious to see. I'm not expecting anything like crazy special going on, but I am curious to see like how else can Adam Sandler take that Happy Madison format and put it onto an animated work. I mean, we've already seen it before, like with 8 Crazy Nights and the Hotel Transylvania movies. But now, like, why don't we see something a little bit different? Like, if we are going to get more animated Happy Madison content, I'm not going to be completely against it. And who knows, this could turn out to be fun. I'm not expecting anything fully great from it, but maybe it could turn out to be something interesting, to say the least. And I mean, again, the animation, it doesn't look that bad. I mean, it looks plain as an animated film, but still well crafted nonetheless. But then again, we will have to wait and see when more of it will be coming soon. And also, I just want to make a quick comment in regards to We Lost Our Human. I will say the art style is actually pretty intriguing, and honestly, looking at this, a lot of it kind of reminds me of Gumball, like especially with that kind of not symmetrical but very geometric aesthetic that mostly comprise of like these like pill shapes. Like you see like the pill shape on the dog's ears, or even like the cat. It's like, yeah, he's like pudgy, you know, he's like big, but there's a lot of it in which like you could even see the cat is more like, yeah, like his body is pill shaped. Like there's a lot of it that's just pill shaped, and like you see a lot of crazy things going on in the background. So I could see this actually getting a fan base. I could see people really getting into this, like especially with the style. And if the comedy delivers, then maybe they'll have, you know, maybe this will be pretty cool. But again, we will wait and see. So these are all the announcements that they have done on Netflix. It will be intriguing. I am still more curious about the things that they have yet to really reveal, like Dawn of the Nugget or Nimona, but I don't know. We'll see how it goes. But I think it's safe to say that we will be definitely getting a lot of content from Netflix this year. A lot of interesting ones. Like maybe a lot will be more hit and miss, but hey, who knows? I'll be open to see what they have in store. And with that said, I would like to know from you what you are excited the most. What do you all think about this entire list that Netflix has revealed in terms of their animated content that's coming soon on Netflix? Which project are you the most excited for? Which one do you have more questions with? Let me know what you all think on this. All right, let's see. I honestly can't get excited for anything Netflix has in the pipeline anymore because I know they're most likely than not going to cancel it in favor for more animated children porn. At this point, wait, what? Anyways, at this point, Disney doesn't need to beat Netflix in the streaming wars because the latter isn't even putting up a fight. I actually wouldn't be surprised if Disney did for Inside Job what Adult Swim did for Tuca and Birdie and buys the show off of Netflix. Then Reagan would instantly be the best Disney princess. I highly doubt that. Like, if anything, I would imagine maybe Adult Swim would be more likely to go and do something like that, considering that they've already done it with Tuca and Birdie, which sadly that did not last long on Adult Swim anyways. But I don't know. I cannot imagine Disney doing so, even if it is like picking it up and putting it on Hulu. I don't know, like that's like a very rare, like those things are like very rare that even happens in the first place. But if you're expecting like a savior for someone to go and pick up Inside Job to like revive it again, I highly doubt if it would be Disney and Hulu. I'm just saying. Let's see. Leo is actually a Happy Madison film, which is a humongous red flag from start to finish. I mean, the last time Happy Madison made an attempt at animation was A Crazy Nights. And seriously, how is Rob Schneider still getting work in films? Yeah, avoid this like the plague and watch Wish instead. Okay, let me go and just like quickly comment on this. Regardless if it is a Happy Madison film or not, it is still like an Adam Sandler type movie. And like, say what you will about like the Happy Madison stuff, and I don't care like if it's official or not, the Hotel Transylvania movies, every single one of them still count as a Happy Madison film, considering that they share strong similarities and that they do share strong story type formats. The way that it is built is very much like it's very much like a Happy Madison film. If you can tolerate Hotel Transylvania, you can definitely tolerate Leo. So I'm just saying, you know, there are very few things I would defend about Hotel Transylvania, but Adam Sandler's involvement is actually one of them. I find Adam Sandler is actually one of the better parts in the movie. Even if like he's not just the star, he's the executive producer. I think Adam Sandler did a way better job than any of the writers, than Gendy Tartakovsky, than most others, honestly. Like, honestly, Adam Sandler is one of the few things that I will defend about Hotel Transylvania because he's one of the few things that's good about Hotel Transylvania. So having Adam Sandler in there with Happy Madison may not be a detriment that you may think. I just want to go and put that out there. Let's see. Here comes the Netflix lightning round. The Magician's Elephant. No, Wong did not get an elephant in the MCU, but he should. Leo, that premise sounds kind of dark with the whole only 1 year left to live part. Also, these two will be Animalogic's first movie on Netflix. Wait, is Leo an Animalogic movie? want to double check. I don't think they described it. Let's see. Well, they say that apparently it's being directed by W&M Animation founder Robert Marianetti and David Wachenheim and TV Funhouse creator Robert Smigel. Okay, I don't know if they said that. I don't know if this is, like, you could be right on that, but honestly, I would be surprised. But anyways, where was I? Yes. Monkey King, another tale of the most overpowered monkey in all of fiction. Seriously, this guy is actually immortal times 1 million. Oh, I know. Oddballs, I'm kind of mad about this, actually. We lost our human. Looks simple, but fun. All right. For Netflix movies, The Magician's Elephant looks interesting. Leo looks iffy given Happy Madison's involvement, including some of the cast like Sandler's family and Rob Schneider. And Monkey King could be good or bad depending on how the open season crew handles it. For animated series, that is a wait and see for me. That's all there is to say, so I'll see if they have what in store. All right. Let's see, who else do we have here? Actually, I do need to go soon, so I'll just read one more and then we'll cap this off. Yeah, I'll just go here. There's definitely a lot of interesting announcements. For me, I'm more interested in Leo. Personally, I think Adam Sandler is a really talented actor, and I'm interested to see what he can offer, but I am especially excited for Nimona, and I can't wait to see footage from that film. Oh yeah, I'm definitely excited to see like when that trailer will come out. That's gonna be a glorious day on the internet. And with that said, that should do it for today's episode of AniMat's Crazy Cartoon Cast. Thank you all for joining me on this one. It was definitely a lot of fun. And tune in for the next episode because I do believe, correct me if I'm wrong, but just around the corner, we got more award news coming out, but this will be the big one that maybe we're going to hear the Oscar nomination soon. So with that said and done, I would like to go and say, don't forget to go and subscribe to me both on Twitch at AniMat Live and on the AniMat's Crazy Cartoon Cast YouTube channel, and to follow me on whatever podcast service you're listening to, whether it be on Google Play, Amazon, iTunes, or Spotify. And with all that said and done, I would like to say thank you all so much for watching. Thank you all so much for listening. And until next time, see you later, dudes.